Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Free Play Arcade podcast presented to you by Book Club Coffee. Let's get into Classic Game Fest. See you then.
Is his name Dalcium?
Dalcim?
Is it-
Dalsum?
Dawson.
How many
It's
of these do you have?
3. I have 3 of them.
Is that... Did they change his name ever?
No, it's
always been the same.
It's
But
been
his-
Dalcim.
I feel
worldwide.
Because a lot of the characters got name changes.
Right. Yeah, the bosses. It all comes back to Mike Bison.
Right, Bison.
M. Bison.
Does his look change? I
No.
feel like he's had
Well,
a.
yeah,
does-
all-
You can
I've seen him with
make
a
him
beard,
purple.
I
If
feel
you hit the
like.
right button, he'll go purple.
Oh.
Right. Yeah, and you can change colors, and now
have
he's
I
got
seen
like
him
a
with a beard?
turban, and
Whoa.
if you
That's-
if you
maybe
play
that's
Street Fighter
what- yeah.
5, he looks way different, but
Okay.
still like emaciated and ripped at the same time. It's very strange.
Stretchy.
But yeah, his name's been Dalcin the whole time. But what it is the boxer in Street Fighter 2. In Street Fighter 1, the boxer is generic Black American, African American guy named Mike. And in Street Fighter 2 in Japan, it is a very similar looking generic African American boxer named M. Bison. And that is very, very similar to Mike Tyson.
Right.
And even the Japanese people were like, whoa, maybe we're going to have an issue here. So they just sort of rotated the names, and M. Bison suddenly became the dictator who was named Vega. And I don't know what Vega means. Like Vega and Balrog and all those names, they don't mean anything to me, but I've seen them repeated before. Like Balrog Flying Fortress.
These all sound like characters in Street Fighter to
Well,
me.
Balrog is also
But
the
I
name
didn't
of
even
the
know
flying...
they're all the same?
Yeah, so the Balrog is the flying fortress in Strider, the first Strider.
That's true.
So it makes kind of sense that the guy who's jumping off the sides and flying off the cage would be Balrog, but I don't know if there's any, like, it's the demon from Lord of the Rings, maybe?
Right.
Yeah.
Something like that.
I feel like
Yeah.
every time I have a conversation with you, I'm like, this might come in handy at trivia at some point.
Yeah,
in my
Well,
life.
and the whole time he's
Outside
like,
of
I'm not
that.
really sure if any of this is true. Don't actually.
Right?
Don't
Making
actually.
up all of this.
Fail me at
Making
But
up
it
trivia.
all of this.
sounds interesting.
But they rotated the name. So Vega becomes M. Bison, and we call him the Dictator because we play
What's
on
the guy with
Japanese
the
and American.
hands? Is that not Vega?
The guy with the hands is E. Honda.
No, the sharp hands.
Oh yeah. So that's Vega in the American version, but Balrog in the Japanese version. But what we call him is Claw.
Okay.
So we say Dictator,
So it's Boxer and Claw.
Boxer,
So-
Claw, Dictator.
They have
Boxer
American
Claw.
names, Japanese names, and nicknames.
Right, but the
I'm never going to be able to keep up.
just
Let's
worry
be
about the
real.
nicknames because
Okay.
it
Because that's
it
more
changes
universally known, I guess.
amongst people who
think,
play.
Play it,
I think
yeah.
because
And it-
that's the only way you can keep track of
Right.
through
Across
the
the
games.
board.
Yeah.
And if I say boxer, you're going to think of the boxer, right? You might think
Who's shoulder
Balrog.
left?
That's Sagat, and he
Yeah.
keeps his name entirely.
Gotcha. I don't know.
That's Mike B's second favorite. Our departed co-host, Mike B.
DJ
DJ Terminator Mike B.
May he rest in peace? No,
Yeah.
he's still up.
He's been here twice. He's played Arlington.
Yes.
Yeah.
Killed it both
Twice
times.
he's played
Killed it
Arlington.
both times.
Twice he's actually been co-host for the podcast for me, but
Oh.
we only did it once in actual free play Arlington. Once was in my
Timelines are
bedroom.
all messed up. There you go. Okay, so we are here.
Yes, welcome back to the
Free
free play.
podcast.
Yeah, welcome back. That was a very long and
Interesting.
harrowing
Very
interview.
interesting, yeah.
Very personal interview we had with Shigeru Miyamoto, the creator of Donkey Kong. Some shocking things were said. I'm not sure how we're going to actually broadcast that.
Not in America.
Yeah.
Eastern Europe only
Somehow.
on that broadcast.
You may or may not see that one. Anyway, so what's on the run sheet?
All right, so we're here tonight. First things first, we've compiled our first 2,000 reviews. Free Play Arcade has had 2,000 reviews now.
Wow.
So we're going to kind of do rundowns. But before we start, y'all both have to kind of tell me how y'all review things, if y'all review things online, because everyone has their own strategy. Like, some people think 5 is good. Some people think 4 is good and 5 is great. Some people think 3 is pretty good. So you'll have to kind of talk about your strategies in reviewing things before we get into these numbers, because I think it's important to get that perspective first. So 4, 5 stars, where are you at on good versus great, all of that?
I I remember being at my old job, in the printing world, and our sales rep ended up emailing us and like doing all these like concessions and freaking out over a 4-star review.
Oh.
Like they got 4 stars, and it was the worst thing that had ever happened to them. So if I'm not giving a 5-star review, I'm not giving a review. I'm giving a 1-star review or a 5-star review.
Right,
It
right.
might as well be thumbs up or thumbs down. Generally speaking, I'm not going to give a 3-star review just because I'm not going to be motivated to.
That's kind of me. I
and-
have to
and-
have
and if
strong
it's-
feelings
and if
on
it's-
one end of the spectrum.
If you were just to nakedly ask me 4 stars, that's going to be pretty good in my opinion. But I remember that experience of them freaking out and their numbers are wrong, so they need it as close to 5 stars as possible. So it's 5 stars or nothing, or 1 for me. But I will say this: if I have an Uber driver and he's rated 5 stars, I know he's a noob. So
Right.
5 stars is not the best rating in my opinion when I'm looking at reviews.
Because he's probably only has like 2 or 3, right?
4.8, 4.9. That's the way to go.
That means they
5,
have something
you've never,
under their belt.
Right. 5, it's just 3 of your friends, and that's all it's reviewed you.
Your aunt that you
Yeah.
picked up and she felt bad for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm kind of the same way. I feel like, and me even like to even do a 1-star review, because I feel like there's so much negative stuff. Like it has to be something pretty egregious
Right.
for me to be like, I'm going to take the time to write a bad review. I try to put more positive. Same thing. Like if I don't tend to complain at a restaurant. But if I have a really good waiter, I'll be like, hey, I want to talk to the manager because
Right.
like good things. But so yeah, I tend to. It has to be one end of the spectrum. I'm not one to leave a mediocre review because it kind of.
So if
feels
we look
like
at your
a
personal
waste.
stuff, no 3 stars.
I don't think
Probably
so.
not really
Yeah.
a 4 or 2. It's all 5 or 1. It's
Generally,
either
yeah.
awesome or terrible.
I don't
Which I
think
feel
so.
like I've been told, like in surveys, that's the stuff they always throw out.
Well, I remember I went to the beta test, and I don't know if you remember this
Which
email
beta
or
test?
not. The beta test for Free Play Richardson.
Oh,
And I
OG.
went in.
Yeah, that's
I was the first one in line, so it just
we were,
Like,
still, we, were
oh,
still, we were
OG.
still building our
yeah.
restrooms at the time.
yeah.
Chris is
Our
like at the window.
Our
Yeah.
contractors were desperately trying to finish it, and I'm yelling at them. I'm like, we got people in line. It was Chris.
Yeah, it was me. I
have
promise it
Chris in
was
line.
me. So yeah, I played that first day, and it was beta test. I knew it was beta test, so I was expecting some hiccups, and there were some hiccups. And I remember like NBA Jam or it was NBA Hang Time, like the diagonal wouldn't work on player 2 or something like that. And so I sent you an email, and I'm like, I'm ready for my 4-star review, but I'm not going to give you a 4-star review. This is an awesome concept. If I'm like, you guys are executing it way above the board.
But like constructive feedback,
Yeah,
especially
yeah,
for like a
if you
beta
guys-
test or something
you
like
know,
that.
it's a
yeah.
beta. If you guys have this like fixed in short order, then
Then
it's gonna be a
booyah,
5-star
5-star,
review.
yeah.
But until then, I'm just gonna hold off, and I'm gonna wait, and I'm gonna give you my 5-star review. My 5-star review for Free Play Richardson is up. It was earned, and it is still there. I still stand behind it.
Are you
that is what
review
it
number
is.
1 of 2000?
No, because
Oh,
I didn't
no,
review
yeah.
that first day.
Oh, because yeah.
Yeah, I was
Well-
gonna let them.
I think honestly we got kind of lucky being like the first of the market, first retro arcade, because so many people were just wanting to be supportive at first.
Yeah.
We got a lot of 5-star reviews that while we were still trying to figure everything out during
Just
the beta,
based on like
the-
nostalgia.
They,
and,
well,
like,
they were just like, these guys seem to really care.
Yeah.
They're gonna get there,
Right.
And we got a lot of 5 stars off of that. And yeah, so out of our 2,000 reviews, our first 2,000, I think we as of today we're at like 2189. But I only have the first 2,000. We have 1,679 5-star reviews.
Booyah.
Pretty good. 276 4 stars, 26 3 stars, 6 2 stars. No one ever actually uses 2 stars.
Right.
If they're gonna review 2 stars, they're either
Might
gonna
as well
pick
gonna
3 or
do
1.
one, yeah.
They're either gonna go all the way or not quite there. And then we have 13 1-star reviews. And so yeah,
And I'm curious how I feel like so many 1-star reviews of like apartments, it's stuff you have no control over too. I'm curious like what the 1-star reviews
so
are.
Of our 13 1-star reviews, 9 of the 13 are mad that we kicked their kids out at 9 p.m.
Which
9 of
isn't
the
that like a
13,
legal
yeah.
mandate? Like
well, yeah, in Richardson, that's actually in
I feel like that
it-
needs more 5-star reviews because of
Right.
that. I saw you kick these people's
Right,
kids out.
it
Me,
was
I'm like,
nice.
"What?"
The arcade
You
became
said
awesome.
you were going to kick them out at 9 p.m.
And
then
you
you kicked
did
them
it.
out 5 stars.
No, then that's in Richardson. It's actually part of the ordinance that they approved to let us open. We have to kick kids out at 9. In Arlington, as part of our TABC license, we have to kick kids out at 9. And just about every 1-star review. I mean, 9 of 13 ever. Kids getting kicked out, and they're mad.
Stuff you have no control over.
Well, and they were told about it, and we have signs of everything, but that really irritates people because, and I assume that actually is probably a good sign for us because they were having such a good time that when we
That they
kicked them
wanna be
out,
there,
they were
yeah.
like, I just wanted to stay, and they made me leave.
I know Octavio and Winston. Octavio relies upon that 9 p.m.
Right, it's time to go home.
Yeah.
to drag his kid out.
Sorry, Winston, we have to go now.
We legally have to leave.
We have plenty of parents that are like, thank goodness for that. Like, if that didn't exist, we would never be able to leave.
Yes.
Yeah, if we weren't able to blame the arcade for the fact that we have to leave.
Right. Somewhere there's a 10-year-old with their wristband. They're like, as long as I don't leave, this is good. I have free games forever. I can sleep in the bathroom. It's okay.
I'll bring my own cot.
Right.
No, and the second, I mean, beyond the 1-stars that we can't do anything about the legal stuff, the most irritating stuff is people like, this is, I actually have a little category here on the sheet that says most infuriating reviews. So Mark H., he wrote a big long paragraph, and then he said, the best time I can ever remember having. This is my new favorite place. It's the best thing that has ever happened to my entire life. 4 stars.
I know. I've read so many of these.
Well, and it happens. There's probably like 30 of those 270 4-star reviews
What
are
would
like
be a 5-star
right.
review
These
for
people
him?
are like, this is just the single greatest thing that's ever happened in my life. 4 stars or 3 stars, and it's so
So
maddening.
are they like holding out because there's
Well-
got to be something better in the universe for them to finally
Yeah, they're
give
reviewing
that
like I
last
review
star over?
songs on my iPod. Right, because I wanted to like organize my songs into if I hit 5 stars on my iPod, then I want it to be literally the best song I've ever heard, and I cannot
can listen
I will
to it.
never get tired of it.
Right.
Right, you
every
want that
time.
all your playlist to be built off of that song.
Right.
Like that's
Because then I could say, give me all the 2 and 4 stars, and I'll get like an interesting mix of things that I like and things that I really like. But that 5 star is just good to go. But that Mark H's review.
No, and
That's special.
There are so many like that. And
Like, was it like a stutter step? Like, did he not realize?
well, the
he
problem
had
is I can't
4?
respond to that because it's a 4-star review. I'm not going to try to
Not only
like
is it a 4-star review, it's a 4-star review saying that you
It's
have the most
best
fantastic
ever.
place
Yeah,
I've ever been
never
to.
had
Thank
a
you so
better
much. I
experience
do
in
not
my
want to
entire
hear.
life.
This
4
is
stars.
what are you doing?
B.
Again, 4.9, 4.8. Those are the perfect ratings. 5 stars,
Well, and
not the perfect
so
rating.
I looked up. I figured out our average of 2,000 reviews. We're at 4.801. Pretty good.
There you go.
I mean, we're totally happy with that. We could never ask for more because that's. I mean, truthfully, it's probably an accurate thing. Like we're really, really awesome, but there's always little things that we can improve upon, and that's what we're constantly trying to do. And that reviews are that feedback. But we'll go ahead and start working through some of these infuriating
Of the
ones.
most infuriating
All right.
category.
So this was something from Martinez. I don't know his first name or if that is his first name. And he said, like, great people, great time, great food, everything was awesome. And then he rated us 3 stars. And this is why this is extra infuriating. The person said, dude, why would you make that 3 stars? And he was like, oh, I was trying to rate it 5 stars. I didn't mean to click 3 stars. And he still,
And then didn't
for,
fix
for a
it.
year now, it's been 3 stars. And I can't really do anything. I can't send him a message. I can't say, hey, man, could you please change that?
Like, would you? Like, because you can.
Because
Right.
he's just like, I had no idea I was
Oh,
rating it
whoops.
3 stars. And he's just like, but yeah, seriously, this place is great. Y'all should all go there 3 stars.
Y'all should all average, but totally go there.
Right. I had my laptop. It had the touchpad, and just accidentally clicked it, and I.
Well, and then I wrote like a 2-paragraph review about how awesome it is.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
everyone was like, man, why would you? It doesn't sound like a 3 star. It sounds like a 5 star. And he's like, yeah, it is totally 5 star. 3 stars.
3 stars. But I stand by my 3 stars.
Right. All right, so an interesting thing that we saw coming through all of our reviews, 235 mentioned our food. 213 of them said it was unexpectedly good, unexpectedly great, unexpectedly used on almost like 90% of our food reviews, which I think is just really interesting because I guess if you're going to an arcade, you just expect the food to be garbage.
Absolutely.
Like
Close
hot
your
dogs.
eyes and
Right.
say you're going to have
Right.
food at the arcade, and you are going to go,
Well, I know, like, the kitchen is tired of reading those because it's always unexpected. It's never like, wow, guys, y'all are just kicking ass. Y'all are awesome. We love the food here. It's always unexpectedly okay.
Right.
Unexpectedly delicious. These guys are unexpectedly competent at their jobs. Like, it's just like every time they have to
Not
read.
the read when I walked in, but whoa.
This is why they come out of the kitchen for Tuesday Night Fights, to just lay it on the customers.
I mean, and it's brutal because, you know, you'll look at any restaurant, and most restaurants could never get a 4.8 because we have so much other stuff going on and everything. But it's like these poor kitchen workers always never get like the amazing feedback. They make a pretty good ham and cheese. That was so unexpected. Like, that pizza was delicious. I can't believe it. Like,
I was shocked.
right? It was unbelievable because I literally could not fathom their food being good.
I have fallen into this trap myself. I did record a video of Carlos flipping a burger for the Burger Time event, and I was just so impressed that he could flip a burger. He's just...
That was unexpected, Carlos.
Unexpected.
Like, we could not believe.
Yes.
That was
all
unexpected
good-
person
yeah.
we call the grill master.
I was just so happy that he got to prove it. He had a grill out in front of the arcade.
All right. And so, all right. So, move in the other very, very common issue in our review, or common theme, is game requests. People wanting the game that they grew up with or anything. What's really interesting is we've had 296 game requests. And 253 of those game requests, we already have the game ready to come out.
This happens all the time.
And it's really tough because we have to say, so sorry. We want to put that out, it's just not out yet. Now, y'all will never guess it, but I want y'all to try to guess the most requested game that's not in our collection.
Wait, that
Not
we
that
actually
we
don't have.
that
We don't have.
That we actually
Oh,
do not have.
Root beer tavern.
man, I don't even
It is
know.
not,
Yeah.
it is not Root Beer Tavern. Root Beer Tavern has been requested like once by you right now. That's it. That's the whole.
I
I'm
know
just
Lauren.
requesting it for Lauren so she can get another
Yeah,
record.
another
Yeah, we already talked to Lauren about this.
The
She
world
did not
record
want
that
it.
no one cares about. It's
Goodness.
Bud Tapper and nothing.
Man.
All right, the
it's
one
got to
that
be
we-
something modern. A Big Buck Hunter. Big Buck Hunter.
You know what?
Or
That's- I don't-
golden tea.
I don't think either of those have ever actually been requested.
You haven't talked to Michelle?
Right.
Michelle
All
only
right.
plays Big Buck Hunter.
The most requested game somehow that is not in our collection, Gorgar Pinball. It's a 1978. I think it's solid state, and there have been 13 of the 30 or so 40 requests that we don't have. 13 of them wanted Gorgar Pinball,
That is bizarre.
and it's not exact. I mean, it's a fine pinball. It's a cool pinball, especially for the age. But it's not particularly good. Like, it's not like this is a top 10. This is
Right.
not even in the top 100. Anyone's top 100, really.
I wonder,
Um,
if there was a way to dig into that. I'm like, did they all grow up going to like the same arcade that randomly had this
Well,
pinball?
the thing is, that was one of the most manufactured pinballs in the late 70s. So
Okay.
they
So it was
probably
everywhere.
encountered it a lot more, and that was
Yeah.
probably what caused that. But
Yeah, if you would have said what is the most requested game that we do have, I would have guessed it was Ms. Pac-Man or something like that we just clearly
Right.
have.
No,
well,
right there.
it's that one guy on Facebook that's been demanding WrestleFest since we opened.
Right, which is back
We
there.
have we
right
have
there.
a good 2-player WrestleFest.
Yeah.
We have a 4-player WrestleFest in the collection.
Oh,
that's
I thought you were saying Russell Fest. I was like, who the heck
Yeah.
is
It
Russell?
It's that
It was
weird
actually-
Russell Crowe South Park.
Our 4-player WrestleFest was actually obtained from the late DJ Terminator Mike B, and that's why he couldn't be here today.
He's still
We're gonna-
grieving.
We
over
had
it.
to talk about this behind his back.
He bequeathed it to us.
Right.
But 4.8, we've been open 18 months in Richardson, 6 months here. It combines both locations. I mean, so far so good.
I've always felt like that review that you don't have the game that I want is maddening and frustrating. Even as a customer who was like the regular all the time, just could not love this place anymore. Like, I feel like it's a sign that you're doing it right.
Right.
That, like, I love everything here. I just walked through this arcade and played 60 games that I adore. And then I discovered another 20 games that are just awesome that I didn't even know existed. And it just made me just so deliriously happy. And I remember this one other game. This
And
one
literally,
other
like,
game.
my one
And
thing
now-
I can complain
yeah.
about is
And now
that
it's
you
just-
didn't
just
have this
draw-
one random,
just
yeah.
drilling into my head that I didn't get this one single game that probably was over on the cocktail in the corner. There's
Right.
Defender.
Well, now our big thing is, why did you ever put that game in Arlington? Why isn't it in your Richardson location, or vice versa?
Oh, I love the ones that are complaining about being competitive. Like
Right.
You like the people in Arlington love Richardson more or whatever. Just
Well,
as
no.
if you're competing with yourself.
Yeah, there's nothing worse than being like, because I'm just joking around on Facebook, and I'll make a post that's like, oh, the people in Richardson are bragging about this, but look what Arlington has, and then you'll have people who clearly have no sense of humor that'll come in there and chastise you. You're
How
like,
dare them?
why won't you be happy with your success? Why would you ever try to make your two locations compete with one another and get really irritated?
Would you like to buy a
about it?
ticket to the cage match?
They're
No?
just like, why? How could you ever have something negative? Period. And I'm like, yo, man, that's like sarcasm. They're like, I don't care. I hate anything that's different and funny. I'm gonna be on Facebook, and I'm just gonna go to everyone's.
And I am so confident you care about my opinion. I'm going to comment on
These are
your
the guys.
post.
What was the Hydrox was the original Oreo, right? These are the guys that go to Oreo's web or Facebook page, and they're like, Hydrox is better. They were first. Like total stick in the muds. But Facebook, that's how it works. All right, so that's kind of like our reviews, our review of the reviews.
Review.
We're totally happy with where we're at. Obviously, the key is that we're always getting better. We
Right.
care about improving our offerings, improving our games. It's getting harder and harder to do that though, right? Because Richardson has just this killer game lineup, and we're just racking our brains trying to figure out how we can improve it. Arlington's huge, so we have 115 games here right now, and Arlington it just keeps eating our games. We throw it at Richardson's pretty much full, and the lineup in Richardson is so hard to find.
Yeah, and then
a
it's like if you
weakness.
want to put something new,
Right.
what
Right.
the heck are you
We're
going to
definitely-
like take
what can
off?
you possibly pull off?
It's
And-
definitely Sophie's choice in Richardson right now, especially with the fighting games where we have
Right.
Super Turbo, which absolutely will not leave the floor, and then we have Marvel vs. Capcom 2, which gets 35 to 40
It's
people
ultra popular, yeah.
on a Tuesday when we those Tuesday night fights. Just no matter what, and then we have Mortal Kombat 2, which is an absolute arcade staple of the late 90s.
It's a top 10 all-time game.
Sure.
It's
So you
Right.
can't take that off,
well,
right?
then the moment we do take Killer Instinct off or whatever, people are gonna riot. They're gonna say, "Where did Killer Instinct go?"
Right.
And we're like, "We put Primal Rage on there. Like, we
But
want a Killer Instinct."
at the same time that they're like, why did you take Killer Instinct? They'd be like, but thank you for this, but
Right, that-
why? Like,
yeah, exactly.
Why don't you have every game that has ever been created on the floor at once?
Right.
I mean, that's basically where they're at now.
Correct.
And it's I honestly, I'm like of the same opinion now. I'm like, we should just throw it all out there. We need as many games out there. So, speaking of throwing a bunch of games out there, you gonna talk about Let's Play?
Let's play Gaming Expo. Yeah, we had 40 out there,
I think we ended up with 36.
36.
36 games with very few taken from the floors on Arlington and Richardson. Most of these were warehouse games. And I actually have a list of stuff that I think this is the complete list of stuff that had never been featured or had not really been featured on any of the arcade floors. Street Fighter Alpha 3, Birdie King 3. No one played it. No one played it.
I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it during the 24-hour. Well,
So-
it was more than 24-hour
so-
marathon for you.
Birdie King is like Golden Tee before Golden Tee existed.
Oh.
It is the original like trackball golf game, and there are very few of them that exist anymore because they use very similar chips to Tapper. So these Birdie Kings just got massacred to
keep-
fix Tapper,
yeah.
to keep them going. So we brought out a Birdie King,
a
King
noble
3.
sacrifice, Birdie
Well, and,
King.
and Birdie King 3 was a pretty cool find for us. It's in a dedicated cabinet. It's really neat. It looks awesome. It plays pretty
It
well.
plays well.
and
Yeah, I played it.
It's interesting to me because I feel like, because I'm not like have a super arcade background, but I feel like there was a period of time where like Golden Tee was like,
Oh, Gold.
and so it's interesting to me that wouldn't be more popular, that people would, I don't know. And
The truth
maybe
is,
it
the
was-
people that played it liked it.
Yeah.
Right,
And
including myself.
I feel like, though, that's, you're in a hardcore crowd that should love Birdie King, but just the fact that they see a golf game, like Golden Tee has completely destroyed the golf game for
So,
everyone just
yeah.
because every bar, every place they went had a golf game. So they have to just kind of assume it's not cool.
Oh, it's
Yeah, there's too many of them. That's not rare. That's not cool.
Right.
All right, so we had Street Fighter Alpha 3, Birdie King 3, Reactor, which we've kind of shown it before, and we need to get it out because Reactor is extremely rare, extremely cool, and ours is beautiful.
Yes,
Ours
it
is
is beautiful.
amazing.
I never played it before free play, and it's one of those games that I cannot describe. Like
Well, you did a walkthrough video for Let's Play, and my favorite scene is this young, like probably 16 or 17-year-old, as you go to Reactor, and he just is getting destroyed by the game. And it's bright, it's beautiful, this game looks great, and he's just in agony trying to get past like the first level. Because I mean, it's tough.
Confusing.
It's a weird.
It's
I mean,
not
weird
as hard as
rule set.
Gravatar.
It's not as hard as Gravatar.
No,
I'm
it's
like,
not.
on a scale of 1 to Gravatar, what are we talking here?
Right. It's just a counterintuitive because you're not a human being. You're in a reactor, a nuclear reactor, I think, and you're trying to like prevent a meltdown. And there's these electrons flying around. And you're trying to bait them into hitting the cooling rods and like this confusing.
Wow.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's totally a documentary game. But
right, this is how they did it in real life.
Right. This is how it actually works. If you ever like
a glowing trackball,
You're welcome. It's not the apocalypse.
Right.
But yeah, no, it's a super rare Godleap game. Very, very cool. And super valuable, super rare, and we haven't really found a good way to put it out. It'll probably end up going out in Richardson, where our Major Havoc is right now, because that's another ultra rare game that we put out that we knew wouldn't get a ton of love. Definitely not enough love for what it is. So we'll put Reactor there. Reactor won't get enough love. We'll send Major Havoc over to Arlington.
I like Major Havoc.
Major Havoc's amazing.
I feel like, well, and again, I don't have a ton of experience, but it was so much different than everything else. Like just the way you play it was.
You
a lot
can kind of
different
see by just playing Major Havoc how expensive that game must have been back when it came out, because it's got these multi-stages, you got mini games, you got all sorts of changes going on.
Yeah.
Plus, it has the most expensive, the highest tech, the most amazing color vector monitor ever. But you know what? Someone who's never really been big in arcades walks up to a game like Reactor or Major Havoc, and it's so complicated. It's so weird. They're not going to get it right away. They have no idea that this is one of 300 in the world that are, and probably one of 2 or 3 available to the public to play.
Yeah,
that's true. Because I walked up and played it, and was like, "Oh, that's neat," and then like
right,
played Moonwalker.
You didn't know that was a color ampliphone monitor made nearby by Atari. I mean, just amazing stuff.
So
all right.
now I feel like I need to go give it some love.
Yeah,
I'm
you
gonna
should.
play it the next time I'm rich.
That is probably,
especially if it's going to be taken off the floor. I need to get some more time.
Check out the story. There's the Star Wars scroll at the beginning of that goes on, and it is super complicated about clones and like it's got a deep backstory for whatever reason. Like we don't need it.
Lines and
yeah, just here's your stick figure. Go at it.
You're going to different worlds. There's different gravity.
Right.
It changes.
And then the gameplay ends up being like the end scene of Metroid, where you blow up the reactor and then you have to escape in a certain amount of time. Yeah, and it seems like it influenced Metroid quite a bit.
All right, so we're 3 games into the games that we brought out for Let's Play Gaming Expo, and we're just we're talking about a game we didn't even bring out. But it was there. We didn't bring our dedicated Major Havoc because we already knew a dedicated Major Havoc was going to be there, and that's something really important to talk about on Let's Play Gaming Expo. We brought 36 games. Another big collector in the area brought it about 30, 32, and then the other collectors filled in the rest. I think they ended up with about 120 games, and it was a really cool, diverse lineup with some stuff that you probably haven't seen before, some stuff that you have seen before. It was really nice.
Yeah, some unique games from one of the other.
Well, and like the last Starfighter that they actually featured in the movie that got film time, that kind of stuff.
Right.
You're not going to get to play that anywhere else besides Let's Play Games.
Because it's a unique game, correct?
Right. Yeah. They're. I think there's one guy making, and they've made like 5 or 6. They've got like a CNC machine they're printing out, and it's not actually a great game, but it's immersive. It's really neat to sit there in front of a last Starfighter and kind of get into it, hear the sounds, all that,
and wonder how high of a score it'll get before like the aliens come and rescue you and decide that you need to save the universe. Have you seen this movie, Toya? All right, field trip.
Yeah, that's an
the
absolute necessity.
Yeah.
Okay, on the list
for everyone's life. Okay, game 4 after Reactor, which is what started all of that. Demolish Fist.
I did not get to play Demolish
Fist. It's an
Fist.
Atomic Wave. It's kind of like it's almost a horizontal scrolling fighting game / beat 'em up. Super rare, and we ended up putting in a brand new monitor just for this game. I don't know what we're gonna end up doing with it in the long term, but it's modern, it's 3D, but it's really, really fun to play. And
it did get played.
Well, and it's something that you don't get to see like ever.
Right.
And that was one of our goals there. We wanted to make sure we filled in all the games that needed to be there, and then we had 10 or 15 games that we just wanted to be really weird, stuff that people probably haven't seen that are still pretty modern.
I feel like Demolish Fist is quite the name.
It's
Mom was like,
Yeah.
hell of a
dibs
name.
on band name.
This is it reminds me of Violence Fight,
Right. Yeah, no, I mean,
which is a real name of a game.
Real redundant there.
Yes.
a Thomas Wave was not actually really good at naming their games and making their games. I mean, this Thomas Wave system ended up getting done. I mean, we have Metal Slug 6 here.
Right. Now that one I've heard of.
That is the only Thomas Wave I think we have on any of our floors right now. But it was a pretty cool system. It was unique for like an arcade geek to play. But Demolish This is a truly good game. Then we brought out Super Dodgeball, a dedicated Super Dodgeball. Extremely rare. Not the Neo Geo Dodgeball that we've had out before, which is also pretty cool. Also called Super Dodgeball.
Alright.
And that one, the Neo Geo one's pretty cool, but it gets a little fighting game mechanics, a
Yes.
little too heavy into it.
I don't want to try and teach Toya how to throw a Hadouken in the
Right.
middle of Super Dodgeball.
Yeah.
I want to teach her Super Dodgeball.
So Super Dodgeball, this was the real board, and probably one of the very few dedicated cabinets that I mean, it's even complicated because it's a conversion game, but they made 10 cabinets that were painted, graphicked, fully done out, and this is one of them. And it plays great. It was an awesome game. Super popular.
Beautiful. I love that game. This is dirty secret time that I didn't want to share because I didn't want to hurt someone's feeling, but Chase the bartender.
Chase the bartender is terrible at games, but
He
let's
is
listen
terrible
to
at
the
games.
story.
He is
Let's
terrible
listen
at
to the story.
games, but he comes to
I'm
me
sure it's going
before I work at Free Play, and he says, "Chris, we need a Neo Geo game. Like I want to get a new Neo Geo game. What do you want? Anything you want." And I'm like, "Is Super Dodgeball Neo Geo?" Because I'm not too
Right,
familiar.
right.
But I'm thinking the NES Super Dodgeball, and I remember the Super Dodgeball that you got just now and put out on the Let's Play Gaming Expo floor. So that's what I'm thinking. I'm like, Super Dodgeball, that's the only one I want. Like, I mean, if you can't get it, you can't get it. I understand. And he's like, hey, yeah, whatever. I'll look into it. And then he comes back to me and he's like, Chris, I got you Super Dodgeball because it's super expensive. I saw it. It cost a fortune. So I got it. It's coming. And a week later it comes and it's the Neo Geo version. And it's good. It's good. And it's Super Dodgeball. But it's not that Super Dodgeball.
Right.
And that Super Dodgeball, I love.
No, Chase the bartender went through a stage where he just was buying Neo Geo games for some reason, and he's
Yes,
past that now because
He's gross.
Because he's broke.
right. Well,
We specifically wanted it because it was expensive. He had no interest in the game at all. Then he was like, oh, and by the way, it's good. I played it.
and then I started, buying all the games he was buying, and just to rub it in his face that we had extras and extras and extras, and it was really mean actually. But Super Dodgeball was a cool Neo Geo game.
Now that I look back at that was awful.
But not nearly as awful the stuff we do to Chase now.
He bought a lot of bad games, actually. He bought like 4 or 5 now that I think about it, including Guruin, which is a pretty cool Neo Geo game.
Yeah?
But it took us a long time to understand it. The other problem with Guruin is it gives you those hints.
Yes.
Guruin's
always.
a puzzle game. If the
Oh,
listening
we
audience
did that
isn't
for a
it?
puzzle night,
Correct.
didn't we?
Yeah, and
Yes.
it's like you fill a container and you're allowed to rotate the container and make your combos. And the big problem with it is as you get, it has random power-ups that
Yeah.
it shouldn't be random in a puzzle game because it
Yeah,
can
that
throw
was-
everything off.
Not that I was good at it, but that
And then
frustrated me.
Then it also gives you hints, and then once it starts giving you hints, and I don't know, they must go away eventually, but I don't know.
think so.
I don't know if they ever do.
I don't think they do.
Because I remember Chase and I have played like 3 straight hours of that game before, and it
Wow.
was whoever got the power up or got the hint at the right time, and we're like, aha, you're dead, and you just keep rotating, and all of a sudden
Right.
it's like clearing the whole.
Right.
it's
My
insane.
strategy ended up being like fill it like 3/4 away and then just shake,
Just
shake,
start,
shake,
just
shake,
start
shake, shake,
shaking
shake
the,
until
the container
yeah.
until you win. It's a really good way to irritate Chase, though, because I don't think he ever understood that mechanic.
Right.
I think he was sitting there
Then you
trying to carefully do
beat him
it.
over the head with his own game.
And then you start turning it.
By the way, Chase, did you know you own this? Shake, 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 shake.
No, I mean, we used to make fun of him, but I think we all kind of fell in love with the game. All right, back to Let's Play Gaming. After Super Dodgeball, this is a game that's been requested quite a bit. It's been in the collection for a long time, but this is one of the best examples we've ever had, Primal Rage.
Ah, yes.
And Primal Rage is about to come out into Free Play Richardson for Ladies Night. It's going to replace.
Plug ladies night.
It's going to come. It's going to replace Killer Instinct 2 and cause all the issues.
It's
but
okay. Mary will be wearing a dinosaur costume,
Right, well,
so heads up. So
that's-
I think that'll soften the blow.
That's what I guess I've heard is don't worry, there'll be a bunch of dinosaur costumes, so it'll be worth it.
Don't worry.
There will be
we
one.
got it.
All of these ladies have been wanting to play Lost World, but now that you have Primal Rage, that'll do just fine. They'll be able to bring out all their dinosaur costumes.
We just
instead.
really needed the dinosaurs.
Right. Any dinosaur themed game would have worked. And I was
Like I say, it could be Flintstone Spinball.
I should have brought-
trying to think like what else has dinosaurs.
there's some really bad Jurassic Park Lost World knockoffs that we've seen before, and they're terrible.
Mesozoic Park.
Well, no, but it's like seriously, you're like capping dinosaurs. Like you shoot them and then you step on their throat and like shoot them in the brain, and you're like murdering raptors. No, I can't remember what game that is, but it's a real game. It's like
That's a documentary on the extinction of dinosaurs.
yeah, screw the asteroids. It was the dude with like the gat,
Right,
stepping on their throat and
Duke Nukem
Just like,
got
you weren't coming after me,
thrown
but
back
you're
in
gonna die
time.
anyway.
It was. There were, I mean, the arcades are filled with embarrassing examples of knockoff and
Yes.
copycat games.
circling back to Violence Fight.
Right. All right, so after Primal Rage, we get to a game that the few people that knew what it is were really excited about it. We brought out Crystal of Kings. That was in a dynamo, cut corner, 3-button. It's a CPS2 game, ultra rare, and it's a scrolling fighting game. And it's considered probably one of the best scrolling fighting games ever. And
Beat 'em up?
I think they actually call it a scrolling fighting game because you have the singular health bar, and your opponents always have health bars.
Okay.
So it's like you beat it, and then you kind of scroll to the side, you get to your next one. I mean, yeah, it's basically beatable.
Yeah. Punisher was like that, correct?
Yes, yeah. And I mean, various beat 'em ups have kind of used that. Obviously, the boss fights always have their own health bar and stuff.
They are intimately related. Street Fighter 1 was the quintessential like beginning of fighting games. But Final Fight was
right.
meant to be the sequel. It was meant to be Street Fighter 2. They changed the name at the last minute. But it again, like he said, you beat everybody up in the city because they kidnapped your daughter. They have life bars. You have a life bar. So it's very much related to a fighting game. And they share the same universe even still to this day.
Right, you'll see those characters popping
Right.
in and out of each other's games now. And obviously, both beat 'em ups and fighting games have huge places in the arcade.
Yeah, and that's why I didn't play it at Let's Play Gaming Expo, is because it was so popular at the expo itself.
Right.
Anything that was had lines, I'm just backing off and letting them enjoy the game.
And so, this list we're going through is only the games that we had never featured, weren't duplicates, were truly special for the event. And the last one that I'm going to mention,
Oh, this is the one.
Double Play. It's a Cinematronics Double Play. Chris begged us not to even take it out because
It's
the
still
controls. I mean, it's here now in Arlington because we're only a mile or two away from Rangers Stadium, well, the current one, and it works with. I can't even describe the controls for Double Play.
So if you're batting, you have a bat control, which is very thin. I don't know how many millimeters
Eighth
it
of
is.
an inch, maybe.
Yeah, maybe. And then you pull it back. It's got some resistance to it, and then you let go, and then that swings the bat.
And it pops, yeah.
And it's the same thing on the opposite side where you're pitching, except it's vertical. You pull it back. You can kind of maneuver it left or right to aim your pitch. Let go.
And they called these 360-degree potentiometers, and it's.
Sounds like a made-up word. If I
Virtually irreplaceable. I mean, certainly if they broke the metal pieces, we'd have to have them custom fabricated to replace them. But yeah, you pull it back when you're batting, and you can aim up or down, and it measures it to the
So
very very
beautiful.
minute, and then you let it go as the pitch is coming, and your bat swings on the screen, and you hit the ball.
It works perfectly.
And
It's a beautiful
playing
game.
great.
It feels like it's one of a kind. And I just in my head, I just keep seeing those shattered Tron joysticks.
No,
and
when
thinking, oh,
Double Play
my goodness.
breaks, it'll probably be gone forever.
I don't doubt it. I don't
And-
doubt it. And he is correct. I was saying you can't put this out there.
And that's
There's
the thing.
no
That's
way.
how free play works, though, right? We
It is.
have one of a kind
Well, I mean,
games.
it's like
we let
if
people
it's
play
not
them.
being
And,
played, yeah.
right. What's the point of having it in the warehouse?
That's
We got to
true.
bring it
I
out.
can
We
see
gotta
both
let-
sides of that coin.
And-
I can as well.
Yeah.
Now the sad part is, people are going to see it and they're going to wish it was something else because they're not going to appreciate how rare it is.
Right.
They probably won't even really play the game, and that's kind of the problem. It's a complicated game. It's
It sounds,
hard to start.
tedious.
Yes,
But
yes.
once you get into it, it's actually a pretty addictive, pretty cool game.
And it's super deep for a
Right.
an old school arcade game like that. Yeah, I think it's 87.
Yeah. Well,
Well, now I need to try that one.
well, it was at Cinematronics was desperate. They were trying to get sales. They were making a lot of Laserdisc games. They were making a lot of stuff, and this was I assume this was programmed somewhere else, brought over to the U.S. by Cinematronics, but it is as unique as they come, and we're really really happy to have it. It'll be at Arlington until it breaks, and then it'll be gone forever. And Chris will weep.
I will, because it's
beautiful.
We'll,
It's a
we'll
good
have a
game.
ceremony for
It's
it.
so cool.
it's all good.
All right, so before the Let's Play Gaming Expo, you took a contingent of free play people, right, to
Yes,
Classic Game Fest in
Including
Austin.
Toya. I want to say there was 10 of us. We all went to Classic Game Fest. Haas and Jesse, some Super Turbo players from Austin, are nice enough to come up here, and they really respect our Super Turbo scene. So in my head, it was a reason for us to get out to Austin and all go together and have a group event and share our little adventures, and it kind of exploded from there. And then we got an Airbnb. We stayed the whole weekend.
It was the Free Play Community Group slumber party.
Yeah, it did. It turned into that. And then it broke into two pieces. So we went to the Jason Palmer, what was it? Event
Convention
Center?
Center, yeah, Event Center.
The Palmer
Palmer
Memorial.
event, yeah.
Right.
So shout out to Jason Palmer, Free Play regular.
So describe how they had it set up. It was in a convention center. Was it your standard retro setup, or
Yes,
was
many of the same vendors that you saw at Let's Play Gaming Expo
and,
were.
and yeah, so there's like 4 or 5 retro gaming expos here in Dallas that have a bunch of,
Right.
I mean, Retropalooza, Let's Play Gaming, those
Right.
types.
Same
similar
vendors.
at Classic Game Fest.
Yes, more same vendors. There were some more art on the art side. There was a lot of troops of like an Assassin's Creed cosplay troop. The Star Wars troop was there. They had a whole
There was
separate
a G.I.
room.
Joe, I think.
Yes.
They had there was
Yeah.
like a handful of.
Right.
Yeah.
They had a giant vendor area. It was really hard to navigate because we had Mike B in the party and we kept getting stopped. Also, they had an arcade area with an arcade that you would absolutely not approve of. On the immediate, like if you immediately turn to the right, there's all these LCD screens, emulators. It would hurt your soul. And then on the right side, you had a bunch of pinball machines that you would find pretty cool. Haunted House, the 3-level
Nice.
one, and
Something we could never have at Free Play Arcade due to the way free play would really work over the long term.
gotcha. And on the far side was Imran stuff and quality setup.
Friend of Free Play.
Absolutely.
Imran, he used to have arcades for home. He's about to open up Texas Gamers Lounge just
Yeah.
outside of Austin. Awesome guy.
Awesome guy, awesome setup, all CRTs. He had a Street Fighter V setup there on console. It
A
is
true
a console.
legit setup.
It was just
how
but it
you
was
should
legit.
be playing that
yeah,
game.
projector up top, 2 screens, each sitting, head to head, and then Tekken 7 in the middle. Also,
Also on
it's
a
It's a
console.
console.
Actually running the PS4s that he's supposed to. That kind of stuff. There you go.
Yes. And it was just a grand good time. Everything was super legit. They had a little pop-up tournament on Street Fighter V, and one of our contingents, Chad Montgomery, actually got second place.
Shout
We're
out.
very, very proud of that.
That's pretty huge because that's a competitive game. That has,
Absolutely.
that has
Absolutely.
thousands of players in every major city
Yeah.
that take it pretty seriously.
And we were super happy to see him do that well. I mean, on just a lark, basically.
Right? Yeah. Was he going to enter it? Did he know about it?
He'll go and enter any Street Fighter
Yeah,
tournament
right.
he can.
Right. Were there any
Because we're
other
using every Street Fighter game.
events, any other tournaments?
There was a hyper fighting tournament, which Jesse, the friend
Street
that-
Fighter hyper fighting.
Yes, I'm sorry. Yes, the third variant of Street Fighter 2 because they didn't
Which
have
is an awesome release. Hyper fighting is
It was.
awesome.
It was. It's the second best. It basically works like DLC for Street Fighter 2, but there was no DLC back in the day. They just had a whole
They just
new
kept
dedicated
kept
arcade
releasing
release.
new ones. Yeah.
So Jesse, Jumpsuit Jesse, our friend out there, won that one and just decimated everybody who went up against him.
So what are the major differences between hyper fighting and super turbo? Because I
Well,
don't
there's-
think hyper fighting has a super bar.
Right. There's no supers that was introduced in Super Turbo. There's 4 extra characters, not including Akuma, which shouldn't count in Super Turbo. There's just more moves in Super Turbo. As a Dulcine player, hi Dulcine, I have control of my close and far moves because I'm a zoning character. It gets really technical, but I have more control over my moves in Super Turbo. What else? I don't know hyper fighting super well to go into the nuances of the differences. I know Super Turbo enough to go into the nuances of reversals.
Of course,
and stuff.
when Free Play Richardson opened, we had hyper fighting, and the overwhelming demand was to get Super Turbo. And so I think within 6 months, we had a very nice Super Turbo.
I was part of that because I knew Super Turbo is the king. Like,
Right.
it is the king.
Well, hyper fighting is the all-time movie theater style, or
Correct.
the random laundromat, something that you'll see, you're amazed that it exists.
Right.
Because they wouldn't put Super Turbo in those types of places.
Right. It's those
But-
two always because
Right.
the 360 Xbox Live Arcade that had the hyper fighting release, and so I certainly spent some time playing that game. But in the back of my mind, I always knew the king is Super Turbo.
Super Turbo.
Yeah.
All right,
it's
so Chapman Montgomery got second in SF5. Friend of Free Play got first in hyper fighting.
Yes, those were all the tournaments there. We had some tournaments the next week at Let's Play Gaming Expo.
Right, and of course Lauren Featherstone.
Oh yes.
She was there. Lauren Featherstone recently set the world record on Tapper here at Free Play Arlington.
Destroyed it.
Right,
Correct.
Just absolute domination of the world of Tapper. I mean,
Yes.
and what's really interesting is we've had all these people since she broke the world record send us messages that were like, I could beat that. Not a
course,
single
yes.
person has made a serious try, and the only person that I'm aware of that has streamed stopped around that 200,000 level. 200,000 points, and she scored 14 million points. He stopped around 200,000, and it was like this he like ran over to this camera, just like turned it off, and that was the end of his Twitch stream.
Right.
And he was supposed to be about to compete. He was like, this is my world record practice. And of course, I think Chris and I both can score around that in Tapper.
Right.
And that's about where we just start getting our butts whooped.
Yes.
Like, I feel like I get into that 150 to 200 level, and I'm feeling good, and then the game just hammers me down. And it's amazing looking at Lauren's videos, because she just cruises right past it.
Right.
Like, it's not even a thing to her, and I'm like pulling out my hair trying to figure out how I could beat those levels.
Yeah. No. People would call me her coach. Well, she calls me
That was
coach.
the best, yeah.
She calls me coach, and she calls me coach because like I helped her with things like preparing for marathons, preparing for the reaction that she's going to get when she breaks the record, preparing to have cameras in her face, things like that. I didn't teach her how to play Tapper.
Right.
She's the world's best Tapper player. I have no idea how she does that.
So she went to Classic Game Fest. They were honoring her in
Correct.
some way.
Yes,
I wasn't there. So
Walter
let's-
Day and Billy Mitchell had themselves a
Walter Day of Twin Galaxies fame.
Correct,
Billy
and-
Mitchell of
King of Kong.
right.
Yes. King of Kong.
Gamer of the Millennium or whatever.
I
they
believe he
call-
calls. I believe he is
The
deemed the
century.
gamer of the century. Yes. He also had the world's first perfect Pac-Man
Pac-Man,
game,
yeah.
which is actually where I grew to know him as
possibly
a little kid.
self-proclaimed gamer of the century.
I'm not 100% sure.
Walter Day probably called him that too.
Oh, I'm sure. Many times
Right.
during the 2-hour presentation, but
So
But they had-
tell us about this awesome presentation. I've heard so many good things about it. It was 2 hours long.
It was?
And so when we say 2 hours, we should focus on the long part.
A lot of interesting might be a stretch. A lot of stories.
yes.
Ask a basic question, get a 20-minute
Billy
response.
Mitchell loves to hear himself
That
tell
doesn't-
these
these
stories. I mean,
these-
and honest,
they really were interesting.
honestly,
like,
I mean,
of
this
the
is
heyday.
gaming history.
Right.
It's just everyone's probably heard it before.
I have heard all of Billy's stories before,
Right.
many times.
I hadn't.
And he told them several times.
So-
And I was genuinely interested the first time, and
Right.
it dragged on. But
Well, and I guess that's a problem with, you're going to an expo that's going to have a lot of hardcore gamers there, and that's going to be kind of the scene. Most people have probably already
Seen it,
know who
heard
he
it,
is,
yeah.
seen the videos, seen the documentaries. He's been in
Yeah.
a ton of media.
absolutely.
So, anyways,
They had a bunch
I
of
didn't
people
realize
coming
he's
up.
been on MTV's True Life I'm a Gamer.
wow.
Newsflash, I didn't know that.
I remember watching that.
So they had a bunch of people come up on the stage. They were giving awards to, and basically to fill the time and tell us your story. And they got to Lauren, and I would say Lauren was one of the two big stars that weren't Billy Mitchell or Walter Day there. You know,
Well,
it was
Tapper's a huge world record. That is,
right.
I mean, that is big
It
time.
is, and Lauren's story is so amazing because she only played arcade games for the last year and a half and learned it at Free Play, and unexpectedly to the national scene broke this record. The media was there. We have all the video of it. It's just a shocking turn of events nationwide.
Amazing. It was awesome.
Right. So that was the big story. And Ernest Cline, the author of Ready Player One, which is coming out in 2018, I believe.
I think spring 2018.
Yeah.
Like, I think it's gonna be like the first big summer movie of 2018.
Yeah, so he was there as well to accept one of Walter's awards. So those were the two stars of the night. In fact, so much so that Ernest Cline's wife came up to Lauren afterwards and got a picture, and we were everybody collectively in the whole group, like Lauren, Ernest Cline, his wife. Everybody's nerding out for everybody else.
Yeah,
it was just
it was fun.
an
It was a big
incredibly
nerd love
surreal moment.
Yeah, because actually Ernest Cline's wife is a world record holder, or was a world record holder or something.
She is the world record holder of an Intellivision game that I can't honestly say I've heard of, but then I didn't do much
but it
Intellivision
was kind of cool,
play.
like two lady
Right,
world
two-
record
yes,
holder,
Probably some.
Maybe
maybe
only,
the
yeah.
only two. Yeah.
Maybe until I get Toya that Gravatar record.
The marathon record.
We have a little ways to go. We have a little ways to go.
Yeah, it's only up from 100 points.
Right. She actually found a way to find the lowest possible score because
That
she
was-
doesn't even
She
give
was
you-
trying to select her level, and she just ran right into the back.
She did that, yes.
Maybe don't worry about it. It's fine.
We did learn that Gravatar won't give you a score if you don't do anything.
Yeah,
Zero
you
is
don't
not
even get a
score.
zero. Yeah.
Yeah, you don't get the.
They don't acknowledge your
No.
presence.
Sorry, give us another quarter and maybe we'll consider giving you a score.
All right, so
Yeah, they called us up on stage for some reason.
so
Yeah,
they called
I think
this,
it was
and this
like
is what
it
I was
became
trying
the big
to
free
get
play
you to-
love
yeah,
fest.
they brought all of y'all on stage.
Yeah. Well, I think Lauren was talking about like
She was talking about
the
free play.
collaborative,
How
right, and how
supportive
like she wouldn't be
everyone
able
was,
to
yeah.
do it if it weren't like kind of a group thing to all kind of like keep her energy up and keep it like make it something that's fun, not just her staring at a monitor for 24 hours.
Play as many
Yeah.
Spice Girls,
And
Britney Spears songs as we could find.
Drive Corey
as we could
crazy.
get on commercial licensing.
So then it was like, oh, your support. Hey, they're all here wearing free play shirts. Like, come on out.
So y'all had to
Right.
go awkwardly stand on stage.
Awkwardly
and, like,
stand up.
wave.
And
Wave,
Lauren-
and y'all were like last,
Oh,
right?
no. It was more than wave. Everybody who got up on stage,
No.
Walter Day hands them the microphone. Everybody. And he had already done it to Lauren, and we were kind of anticipating this for Lauren. Was not at all
Right, Lauren knew she
participating.
was probably going to have to say
Yeah.
you know, the 10 people you
So,
brought.
Yes, all 10 of us are up on stage, and then, Walter looks at us and is like, so which one of you is in charge here? And I am quick. I'm first. I immediately point to Mike. It's him. And then
And literally everybody
all
else
the
is
other
like-
9 points to me. And I'm like,
You're like,
"Oh,
definitely not
I'm
me.
not getting out of this. So I had a very awkward speech that I don't remember because I just had flashes.
Well, I do
and
remember.
It is absolutely
you
what
talked
nightmares
about
are
like
made
what
of.
free play's kind of about, and like
Right.
the pride they take in their games. And you
I
mentioned
don't,
not
but,
using.
by the way, I don't remember this at all
Well, like,
because I
you-
was just
you said
pure
like,
shock.
that free play doesn't use emulators, and there was a guy in like row 3 that was like, "Buh."
We don't use emulators. We have real CRTs. We pride ourselves on taking care of games. This stuff is true. So if you ask me to talk about free play, fortunately, the proof is in the pudding. It's
Right.
it's a
And well,
fantastic.
Come
that's
on.
what free play is about. Like,
Right.
I mean,
I truly love this place. It truly is the best arcade in America.
Well,
But it was
speaking
just,
of
like,
trying
so
to
put
avoid
out.
responsibility, that exact face and that exact sound you made are exactly what I do when I'm working the door. I happen to be working the door at one of the arcades, and someone walks in and they say, "Can I speak to the manager?" And I haven't introduced myself in this podcast. I'm Corey Hyden, the owner of Free Play, the president of the company.
El Presidente.
And I'm like, let me go find a manager for you. I'm like, wow, this sounds really serious. I'm gonna go find someone else. For you.
somebody that I pay to take care of these
Yes,
things.
please,
Come over here.
please, no. This is not gonna go. All right, so you're on stage. You said some nice things about Free Play. Awesome.
Yes, got some groans.
Did they keep the mics moving? Was this
No,
like
no, it was
our
straight.
No, I
Straight
think
me.
once we all were kind of like that guy, like they
Yes, and I
relinquished the
talked
microphone.
until I ran out of steam, and then Walter looked at me and begged me to continue talking. So
Oh,
I went
no.
another 30
They had
seconds.
the 2 hours to fill, and they really
Yeah,
wanted
exactly. That was it.
All right, so Lauren Featherstone, she got recognized by two pretty, titans of arcade gaming,
They are titans of arcade gaming.
and they
that cannot be
gave
taken
her
away.
a trading card.
They
She
gave
got her like a poster that I think was like,
She got a poster.
yeah.
She was due to get some trading cards. She did get the trading cards later. She autographed a couple of them, literally a couple,
Two.
and then we
Got out of there.
we left with got out of there.
Been a long day.
Run,
I-
run away.
I asked her about the autograph. I told her to autograph whatever she was comfortable with, and she said she autographed two and left one for Walter and one for Billy, which I thought was perfect.
Sounds great.
Yeah.
And so, any other highlights from Classic Game Fest?
The Airbnb.
From the, right,
Yes.
from the
The
actual.
house was
I mean,
great.
it was a
The
straight
trip
house
was
party.
great. Yeah.
It was,
We basically-
outside of the fest, like there was like we went to pinballs and
Pinballs being the 3-location kind of retro arcade, kind of pinball focus.
Yeah, it's everywhere.
well, and it's
Chain in
and
Austin.
yeah, not even just it's kind of like three
Right,
distinct.
they have-
like they have the
they have a
retro
prize
arcade,
counter.
the pinball, and then it's like the ticket, win the prize. I
Yeah.
hit a jackpot on like a random game and bought a bunch
Yeah,
of
it
crap.
feels like they want to
They
be.
have a lot going on.
Yeah.
They want to be the pinball arcade, and it's there, and they're trying hard there, and then they have the redemption stuff, and then that stuff is all
Well, and I've
But
been to
apparently
their.
their
It is what it
tapper
is.
needs some work.
that retro arcade. Yes.
Well, that's the
the
problem, right?
Queen did not approve.
No, she
It
did
was-
not.
Chris is there and he's sending me photos. I'm like, this is like the coolest retro arcade ever. But then I
The
realized
titles are yes.
Well, that's the thing. I realize it's not on free play, so no
No.
one. It probably doesn't get a ton of action.
Mm-hmm.
They probably don't even know some of the issues they have because of how it
Because
works.
it's not
just how the
recorded
setup
and-
is.
Yeah.
yeah.
Which
They did have a lot of really fun pinball machines.
well,
though.
and that,
Correct.
that is what they do. I mean,
Yeah.
I think y'all went to their newest location. They have 60 pinballs. I
Right.
mean, that's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got to
4
play some I'd
lines
never
of them.
played.
Yeah.
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 All right, so
None of them
we got to
new, by
wrap
the way.
up this segment. Classic Game Fest. Any other words about it, y'all?
Not.
Y'all going back next year?
We're going on road trips again.
I was
Yeah,
about
that-
to say,
I don't know
we
if we're
wanna-
going to
so-
Classic
We
Game
just
so
want to
Fest.
go on a greater arcade tour.
If
road
Imran
trip
will
party,
open up
yeah.
an arcade and give us an excuse to
Texas
go, we will
Gamers
go.
Lounge opening this weekend.
Yeah. So
Wow.
if he gives us a mild
Not this
event,
next weekend.
if he gives us a super turbo event, maybe. I'll
Well, that was
assemble
actually
the
he
troops.
spoke
I
to
will-
he
I will
spoke
go
to
on the
me
road
about
trip
that
and get
today, and he
annihilated.
said, "I don't even want to try to touch Super Turbo. Y'all are going too hard." He was just like, "It's
Fair enough.
He's like, "I've seen the
Fair
comments." He's like, "Joysticks, buttons." He was like, "I don't know.
He's like,
I don't
"I'm
want
out."
to. I don't want to get into that."
Fair
so
enough.
he was just like,
We're not-
He was like, "You could come run a Super Turbo tournament." He was just like, "That is too intense." So. But Imran, awesome guy, opening Texas Gamers Lounge, Classic Game Fest.
I can't wait to see his setup because I
Oh.
saw his setup at Classic Game Fest.
I
and it
thought
was
of
fun.
another highlight for me from Classic Game Fest. There
Shoot.
was like a toddler, like 3-year-old Chun-Li. She
Nice.
was the cutest thing
Oh,
I've
yeah,
ever
that's-
seen in my life.
Those darn kid cosplayers just kill.
Yes.
It's
She was-
unfair.
I
It's
mean,
unfair to
like,
the grown-up
bitty-
cosplayers who work so hard. Those kids, they could come in with like a store-bought costume. They're gonna get photos with everyone.
Absolutely.
And let's see. Lauren and Featherstone has a trading card. Set the world record. It's recognized now by Twin Galaxies. I think we
Correct.
should probably toss
Legit.
that in there. That was Walter
Well-
Day. Then it was recognized by Twin Galaxies, which isn't Walter Day anymore. But
Correct.
obviously, if Walter Day is recognizing it, Twin Galaxies is going to have issues not recognizing it.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Twin Galaxies. She's the official record holder now. I guess we could submit it to more places, but
Oh,
Yeah.
I mean, it's been in the
it was
paper. It's everywhere.
Yeah, it was
Google
actually printed on paper. It's
many
I
times
actually
over.
was like doing and I don't even remember why now. I was doing an image search for Tapper and was scrolling through, and then I was like, oh, there's Lauren.
yeah, Lauren
like,
pointing
just
to it.
right. Like,
So
the
surreal.
famous photo. Well, and it's really funny because I had to ask for permission to post that on our Facebook a long time ago.
Correct.
And then I had all these papers asking me for permission, and I
Right.
was like, I think who took the original? Was it
I
you?
did.
You
I
own the
took it.
copyright for it. You got to get paid, man.
this is just like an
Not by
iPhone
free play,
picture.
but by,
That's it.
you got to go after the
Right.
newspapers.
Just start suing every media outlet. Did not get.
That's how
proper.
free plays are going to make it. We're going to take Dallas Observer down.
like,
It is
print
surreal.
media is dying, and we're going to be the
I'm-
final blow.
I'm flattered.
Speaking of which,
It's-
we advertise in Dallas Observer. We love Dallas Observer.
No,
also,
yeah. Plug. It's
Well,
okay.
I mean, Walter Day's poster that he gave us, has that picture on it. So
Right.
he's giving Lauren a
Right.
picture that I took.
Right.
And I certainly had never met Walter Day and
Right.
had been
He
asked
has.
anything. I'm
Or-
sure she hasn't either. But I mean, it's just flattering.
Right.
I think of myself as a horrible photographer. So,
But it was just like
and it was a
It was-
tongue-in-cheek moment.
It
That's
was-
the thing.
Well, and I love that she's pointing to like a 235,000 score. Or
right because it
something.
was also like from a while ago, wasn't
Right.
it?
No, that
Oh,
was
yeah.
that was during the fall challenge or something.
It was
that we
the
ran.
summer nights.
End of summer. Yeah.
Yeah. Summer nights.
We did a
whatever.
challenge on every game, and she made
Right.
sure she came for tapper, set the highest score, and it was
Right.
she was
I
in
could
the
not catch her.
mid 200,000s, and
She was one of 2 people that I could not catch during that tournament, because I came every day for those 30 days, and I caught every single
I know,
one.
I
And I worked with Lauren. She was helping me play tapper, and she was teaching me stuff. She's on a whole different planet.
well now she's
Yeah.
the best ever.
Yeah,
All right.
she's the greatest of all time.
So that wraps up our classic Game Fest segment. We'll be right back with some more stuff. Gotta take a quick break, and you want to give a little throwback.
Oh yeah, let's
some
get
book club coffee
hook up
tonight.
that book
The
club
only
coffee.
reason we're awake,
Right.
Double Clutch Nitro Brewed Book Club Coffee.
Yes.
They're sponsoring us tonight. We're also all drinking it to stay awake.
It's
Amazing
working
stuff.
quite well.
Legitimately fueling.
Available at both free play locations.
Mm-hmm.
It comes out of a nitro keg. It's awesome, and we'll be right back.